draft on Team PVDDR Ifro. Going up against the second seed team, which is kind of the young guns, Oliver Tu, Shahar Shenhar, and Andrei Strosky. Let's take a look at what he opens up here. Taking a peek through, he's pulled a Mesa Unicorn to the front, but there's a Song of Frailes in this pack, a Verdant Force, and an Arvad the Cursed. What are you taking here, JVL?
I think I end up taking Song of Frailes. I've been incredibly impressed with that card. I think Verdant Force is absolutely a defensible pick, but Song of Frailes has really, really impressed me a lot. I'd be really interested to see what Ben ends up taking here. I think Verdant Force might just be the best card, but all right, he ends up taking the Song.
Song of Frailes, a super powerful saga. We've seen it just go off and be, let's put it plainly, stupid when people attack. Once it hits Chapter 3, it's basically a free roll, and all of your creatures are huge, and they stay that way. All right, taking a look through here. Pack number 2, Mending of Dominaria in the front. Rona also in this pack, Blink of an Eye, and Saproling Migration.
You know, this, again, some reasonable choices here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ben take something super long game, like Mending of Dominaria. I think it's also defensible to take something like the Blink here, even.
Oh, or he's going to pick up a Saproling Migration.
I like that pick a lot. It's on color. It combos incredibly well with Song of Frailes. And it's also just very synergistic with a lot of the different green strategies.
All right, so pretty secured here. 2 green cards, the first picks for Ben Stark, Song of Frailes, Saproling Migration. Here we go, pick number 3. Saw a Valduck flashback there if he wants to get spicy. Academy Drake up at the front. The saga in this pack is, in fact, Shainer's Torment. Not going to be interested in that. There's a Weight of Memory if you want some card draw spells.
I think Academy Drake is probably the best card in this pack.
Why do you say that?
I think he
took Valduck.
He took Valduck. Interesting. I've just been really impressed with Academy Drake. I think it's really good for its cost at every level. Valduck's a really good card to take early on in a draft. It means that you can value equipment and or auras much higher than you would have otherwise, and it makes those cards much better in your deck.
I love Valduck, but of course I do, right? Taking a look through here, pick number 4. There's a Thorn Elemental, big green card. Another Saproling Migration, though.
Yeah, I think he's likely to either take an additional copy of Saproling Migration, but he might even go ahead and take some type of equipment here. I think he did take the Saproling Migration. I didn't really see, though.
Yeah, I think it was Saproling Migration.
Yeah, it was. Okay.
So he's got 2 copies of this. His deck's actually shaping up pretty nicely here.
Yeah, this deck is going pretty well.
I don't usually think of Valduck as going in a green-red deck. Perhaps he's just taking it to keep it out of the hands of his opponents. Broken Bond here. Wizard's Retort, Caligosh Skin Witch. Solid card.
Yeah, I really like taking the Caligo Skin Witch here. I think that this is a great card at every stage of the game. It's a card that you're never upset to have in your deck. It's a card I basically never cut from a deck that can cast it. I'm not a big fan of pump spells in this format after playing a bunch, so I don't think Gift of Growth is particularly important to pick up at this stage of the draft.
Okay, he's going to pick up the Caligo Skin Witch. Why are you down on pump spells, JVL?
Well, I think pump spells are best in the most aggressive decks, and I've had the least success with the more aggressive decks. And when I am aggressive, I'd want to be a white deck.
Well, speaking of white, we've got Benalish Marshal in this pack, as well as Pegasus Courser. An Adamant Will, a pretty good trick. I mean, I think this
is a pretty strong signal that white is wide open, and Ben already has a lot of Saproling Migrations, which combo incredibly well with that Benalish Marshal.
Looks like he took the Pegasus Courser, I think,
I believe he took the short sword. Yes.
All right, well, that goes well with Saprolings, too.
Yeah, and it also goes quite well with Valduck, so we may end up seeing him in some type of red-green deck. And red-green is an interesting deck also because it's likely to mess with the drafts on the person on his right or left because it's not an archetype that most people are expecting to see people draft very often.
Broken Bond in this pack if he wants a way to interact with his opponents. It's good usually to pack at least one of those in your draft deck, but he's going to pick up a Gift of Growth here.
Yeah, and it looks like Ben is planning on playing a much more aggressively bent green deck than we're used to seeing. In a team draft, there are less cards available, decks are less powerful, and we may see him have a lot of success with a more aggressive strategy.
Sergeant at Arms was a pick up here for Ben Stark. 2-3.
And again, the ability to generate more and more tokens. These types of cards combo very nicely with his song that he already has.
All right, we're seeing Ben Stark here. The beginnings of a go-wide deck here in this team draft. Corrosive Ooze, a Dub, a Partick Wanderer, Seismic Shift, Chainer's Torment. Not a lot left.
Yeah, not a particularly exciting pack. He'll probably take the Ooze. I think Partick Wanderer is also defensible there.
Corrosive Ooze was the pick up here for Stark. Runamuck is the pick here, a concession. If he is going to go red-green, straight red-green, that's a nice aggressive card.
Absolutely. If you're one of these decks that's just a pile of creatures on a good curve, then the pump spells actually become pretty relevant. And Run Amok is a particularly good pump spell in that type of strategy because the board gets gummed up so much that trample becomes very important.
All right, Gift of Growth number 2 here for Ben Stark. We are going wide and we are going big.
Yeah, he already has more pump spells than he'll ever need for this deck, so I doubt we'll see him take many more.
Taking a look at the last 3 cards here, we're going to take a Stronghold Confessor, get that out of there.
A fine card. Very playable.
And just kind of rounding out pack 1. We haven't really seen him do too much hating, as sometimes you'll see in a team draft. But then again, we haven't seen a lot of insane bombs passed our way either. The only one that I think was perhaps a higher power level was that Banalish Marshal.
Yeah, I mean, he passed the Banalish Marshal. He also passed a Verdant Force. Those cards, while it seems like the abilities on them would go well together, the fact that Verdant Force requires 3 green mana and Banalish Marshal requires 3 white mana, it means it's very unlikely the two of them will end up in the same deck.
Really interesting to watch these drafts as well 1 week out here from the Pro Tour, as we'll see these players in Richmond, Pro Tour Dominaria drafting. Red-green, though, not a deck I've had much success with in Dominaria.
I've not either. Of course, it's worth noting that I don't think Ben is necessarily cornered into red-green quite yet. It's clear that he wants to be playing green cards, but he could essentially be playing any other color alongside that green still, even though he doesn't have any blue cards yet, and he only has 1 white card and only 1 or 2 playable black cards. The majority of his picks in that first draft, or in that first pack, were green, and it's very possible that he ends up being green something else.
Team drafts also really interesting, besides the fact of hate drafting to keep cards away from your opponents, is trying to get a hold of what your teammates are doing and what decks you assume your opponents are drafting based on what you're passing them. And you can kind of get together with your teammates after these team drafts and talk about, well, I passed this card. Did it end up in your deck? No, it didn't. Okay, well, then we know they have it.
Yeah, Ben, I'm sure he's going to ask his teammate if they saw a Verdant Force, and if they say no, then they can be able to pinpoint that will be in their opponent's deck.
Okay, taking a look here at pack number 2, an Eviscerate in here.
There's also a Thallid Omnivore. I imagine you're going to take the Eviscerate here, but I've been so impressed with the Omnivore, I just thought it was worth mentioning that it is in the pack here.
What will it be for Ben Stark here? Pack 2, pick 1.
So there's the Gideon's Reproach. If he does decide he wants to be playing white, white is quite open.
All right, Eviscerate is the pickup. Destroy target creature, 4-mana sorcery. Gets the job done on everything but a turtle.
Yeah. Looking at cards, white seems to be very, very open. Not many people wanting white cards. We've seen cards like Seal Away, Banalish Marshal, those things going pretty late here.
Some good stuff in this pack, though. There's a Grow from the Ashes, a Llanowar Elves, and a Grand Warlord Rada if he does want to be red-green.
You know, the thing is that red-green, an underplayed archetype, I think he can be pretty confident he'd be the only one in those colors. Somebody else might want to splash that card, but it's also just a card that he might be able to wheel and actually get back. It is powerful enough that he may just want to use his pick on it right now, though.
I believe that is what he picked. Grand Warlord Rada there you see her on your screen, a 3/4 for 4 with haste. Whenever one or more creatures you control attack, you get to add that much mana in any combination of red or green. Till end of turn, you don't lose that mana as steps and phases end. Wow, these Thallid Omnivores just going around it. Oh, there's a whole lot of the Fire Fletcher here for Ben Stark.
Yeah, another red-green card. A card basically designed for the deck that Ben has kind of stumbled into here. He has multiple kicker cards already. It could work out very well for him.
All right, Halar the Fire Fletcher is the pick up here for Stark. Taking note, lots of omnivores going around, but you know what? He's got all the sapperling migrations.
And the Halar also works very well with the pump spells that he's already picked up. He has multiple copies of Gift of Growth. Those cards work really well with Trample in a format where people are planning on winning by chump blocking. And did you see what I saw?
Yes, I certainly did. Valduck number 2, a Gift of Growth, and a Fungal Plots.
Yeah, and I'd be very surprised if he didn't take the second Valduck. That gives him a very clear path to know what he wants his deck to be doing. He can start valuing equipment much higher, and those cards are going to become super, super strong.
Come on, take the Lich's Mastery, Ben Stark. Are you afraid? Valduck, Keeper of the Flame, one of my favorite cards in this set, hands down. Just getting those free elemental creature tokens. All right, we've got a Mammoth Spider in here, an Ancient Animus as well. Some removal.
Yeah, I think Mammoth Spider has been quite good every time I've played with it. I like it a lot. Ancient Animus is a card that, it plays well in a lot of draft formats, but the pounce effect, not great here, even with that bonus of giving +1/+1 counters to legendary creatures.
All right, well, he is going to pick up the Ancient Animus, but I tend to agree with you, JVL, that the time I've seen this card be best is actually paired with Thallid Omnivore. Goblin Chain Whirler left over here, a Memorial to Unity.
Yeah, the Chain Whirler, very difficult to cast, but exceptionally powerful. Also a card that Ben's deck will struggle a lot against with all of those copies of Sapperling Migration. I believe he did go ahead and take that Chain Whirler.
That's what it looked like to me. Pierce the Sky in here, another Run Amok. Flame of Keld.
The Flame of Keld, not really a good card. You don't really want that one in your deck.
No.
Pierce the Sky, good sideboard card.
Excellent sideboard card, and that'll be the pickup here for Stark.
One of the things I really love about this draft format is that all of the bombs that you see, not all of them, but the majority of bombs you see are cards that can be dealt with at the common level. See a lot of powerful legends and mythic rares that are easily beaten by a copy of Pierce the Sky.
Wow, Gift of Growth still in this pack.
Yeah, he already has a lot of Gift of Growths, though. I don't know how many of those he really fit in your
Grow
deck.
from the Ashes. I was getting messed up there. He does have, yes, he has 2 Gift of Growth. This is first Grow from the Ashes.
Yeah, Grow from the Ashes, a card that can be really powerful in the more controlling green X decks that are attempting to splash colors. In Ben's deck, I don't know how good that card is right now.
Okay.
It could become better in Pack 3. We're not quite sure right now.
There's an Arbor Armament, a Fire Elemental. Another red card hiding at the back.
Yeah, he took another Run Amok here. He has a lot of pump spells, and I know I sound like a broken record, but I might have been incentivized to take a card like Fire Elemental there even. I like the Run Amok pick, though.
Well, speaking of Gift of Growth, there's Gift of Growth number 3, but also a short sword, Frenzied Rage here.
Yeah, and with 2 copies of Valduck, I think the short sword is a pretty easy pick here.
All right, short sword is the pick up here for Stark. Not much left in the pack here as we round out pack number 2 in this top 4 Dominaria team draft here at Grand Prix DC. Frenzied Rage is going to be the pickup here. The last 3 cards going on in the pack. You don't even play this even if you have 2 Valducks, do you?
I'm not a fan of this card. I think there's a lot of good removal in this set. I don't like getting 2 for 1.
Fire Elemental here rounding things out. And one final card. Let's take a peek at what Ben Stark has put together in this first team draft here. Red-green. I mean, as far as red-green goes, he's doing it.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have... I would relate to see a card like Fight with Fire somewhere in his deck.
Sure.
But he does have 2 red-green legends. He has a ton of pump spells, more than he'll ever need for the final build of his deck. He's a little bit short on creatures. He does have a Song of Freyalise. I think the highlight of his deck right now is a pair of short swords and a pair of Valducks. So he's looking to combo up, make those Valducks spit out elemental tokens, and hoping that those will be good enough to end the game. And they're going to definitely be good enough to steal at least some games from opponents, I imagine. That's all you need to do.
Another pickup he's looking to add to his deck, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Shivan Fire, it's a card that is always very good, but if you're looking to be lower to the ground, looking to be aggressive, looking to end the game quickly, then Shivan Fire is the type of card that lets you double spell earlier on in the game. And when your opponent is, playing one spell a turn, oftentimes not playing their first spell of the game until the fourth turn, and you're able to deal with that card for 1 mana while continuing to advance your board state, you're in a pretty good spot.
Okay, let's see what he manages to pick up here in pack number 3. Pretty straightforward team draft so far, other than the fact that the colors Ben ended up in are a little unconventional. At least as far as my experience has been in Dominaria thus far. But his deck's looking pretty good. Just needs some removal to help round things out. There's a Time of Ice here, a Rite of Belzenlock, Arvad the Cursed, Skittering Surveyor here, Llanowar Elves. To add a little more ramp. What do you like?
I think I end up just taking Llanowar Elves here. There are really no good cards for the red-green deck that Ben is putting together. You might want to take something from the person on your right, maybe like a Rite of Belzenlock or simply a Time of Ice, but those aren't really the cards that you're looking to do. Oh, I didn't even see.
Skittering Surveyor?
Yeah. Skittering Surveyor. I like that a lot. And I think that I would have taken Llanowar Elves there, but I'm absolutely positive that Ben is a better drafter than me, and I'm interested to ask him about the Skittering Surveyor over Llanowar Elves pick in that pack right there.
Ooh, I saw another Halar the Fire Fletcher, a fiery intervention in this pack. Blood Tallow Candle goes in every deck. Ancient Animus. I think there's a large green spell hiding at the back here of this pack as well.
Yeah, Ben doesn't really have any removal, so I imagine he's going to want to be taking this fiery intervention, though Halar is a very good card, and could also see that being the pick.
It is the fun pick. But we're just going to pick up Fiery Intervention here. Discipline. Removal spell deals 5 to target creature, or you can destroy target artifact. See if we can get Halar back on the wheel. Blink of Eye here. There's a Sapperling Migration to be a Sapperling Migration number 3 here for Stark.
And he does go ahead and take that Sapperling Migration.
Nice. Goes great with his first pick, Song of Freyalise, as you mentioned.
With 3 copies of Sapperling Migration, he can really just explode onto the battlefield and, empty his hand almost immediately.
His Sapperlings are going on a journey. You want to know the playtest name of this card? It's really adorable. Best Buds.
Aww.
Why did they change it? It's so cute.
I just don't know.
Traxos Scourge of Krug here, Krosan Druid. There's an Easter Glider in this pack.
Yeah, now he's trying to think about how many historic cards he actually has right now. He's playing a pair of short swords. So he goes ahead and takes the Traxos.
All right, Traxos, get in the deck.
I love it. He's got a pair of short swords. He has at least 2 legends that I can remember right now off the top of my head. He has a few sagas.
Ooh, Adeli still left in this pack. Grow from the Ashes, and that would be Sapperling Migration. Numero 4 here for Ben.
Yeah, so the Sapperling Migration, clearly the best card for him. There's also a Jousting Lance, which is a card that I imagine he wants at least some number of because he's going to have all these Sapperling tokens, and he has to make them matter in some way or another.
All right, Jousting Lance is the pickup here. Lance, excellent in his deck. Pierce the Sky number 2 for the sideboard. There's a Skizzik.
Yeah, Skizzik is a very nice pickup here. I imagine he might see a Halar again in the coming packs now, getting passed back to him. Jousting
Lance, one of the cards from this set that is way better than I expected.
It's a card that plays pretty well in this format. I've also been quite impressed with it.
Arvad the Cursed coming back around. Not quite sure what he put into his deck there.
Yeah, I didn't really see either.
Didn't look like a card for his deck, though. Kind of picked it from the back of the pack. Well, we said he needed removal. What has he picked up so far? Fiery Intervention, is that it?
Yeah, the only removal spell I've seen him pick so far is the Fiery Intervention.
All right, there's Halar.
Oh, he has an Ancient Animus as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, Halar number 2. We are doubling up on our legendary creatures in this deck. We now have 2 Halars and 2 Valduks.
Yeah, and we also have a single copy of Rada.
Oh, yeah, Grand Warlord Rada in this deck as well. Primordial Worm is going to be what he takes here.
Yeah, again, more pump spells in that pack, but he has more pump spells than he could ever want to play at this point.
Ooh, Rampaging Cyclops wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, that's a really nice pickup here. I think that card is a pretty late pickup. Rampaging Cyclops is a card that is pretty good for its cost. Definitely not the kind of card you're expecting to get that late. Oh, my goodness.
Sapperling Migration number 5? How many is too many?
I mean...
No number.
I'm not sure. He doesn't really have that many ways to make them matter.
Might be number 4. Not entirely sure. We'll take a look as he looks back through his picks here at the end of the draft. Hopefully we get a chance to see this deck in action as we head to gameplay. But we're going to get a chance to watch another draft here. Hey, what's up? What do you think? What do you make of his deck so far, JVL?
I'll give it a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10? That's not a very good grade. Why do you say that?
I don't know if his deck really has the tools that it needs to deal with large bodies on the other side of the table. I think if he plays against, some of the better, more controlling decks in the format, he's really going to struggle. Once his opponent gets something down that has 4 toughness, it's going to be really hard for him to power through that over the course of the game. He does have pump spells. It's just that his general card power level is lower than I'm used to seeing. So.
All right, well, we're going to head to commercial really quick here. More drafting when we come back.